Well, as we say, uh, it's going to the moon, but we don't always know where the moon is these days. One of the things I've been focused on lately, and I think it's just kind of an interesting differentiation from what we're hearing across the world, is uh, I talk about risk a lot. I talk about hedging a lot. I talk about mitigating that risk a lot. Maybe you're really tired of hearing about it, but I just thought, we talked about railroads a little bit this week. We talked about stock certificates. We talked about hedging and mitigation of risk in general. We talked about understanding how to peel back the way we look at an investment and understanding what could be in it and where the risk could lie. So let's talk about a really big one that no one else seems to be talking about is the Suez Canal is currently shut down. It is absolutely paralyzed because a massive container ship has grounded and they can't get it out. I'm going to say that again. The Suez Canal, probably the most important shipping route or shipping pass-through in the world, is currently closed. A humongous ship is blocking it. Every effort so far to get it out of the way has failed. And this is exactly what I'm talking about when I talk about mitigating risk in general. I know it's late. I don't normally record at this time of the night, but I just thought with what's going on in the markets, the general downturn we're dealing with, the potential market crash, although I don't think it's really that big of a threat at the moment. Here comes another thing that you're probably not thinking about. And why does the Suez Canal matter to you, someone who's an investor or a trader? Let me tell you why. This means that goods and equipment and material and cars and all kinds of things, food from all over the planet are now sitting in ships, sitting in the water, and have nowhere to go. As you can see, Michelle asking a question here about supply chain issues. That's exactly where I'm going. So this is where you have to understand the mitigation of risk in general. And I appreciate the question. So let's take a step back and understand that when we talk about dealing with China, dealing with countries that we export and import from, this is the issue, is they have to come over on these gigantic ships. It takes a long time to get here, huge costs. What will happen now is we're going to see a slowdown of materials arriving on time. With that slowdown due to the Suez Canal being shut, this starts to impact profitability. This starts to hit your margin. This means things you ordered aren't going to get there on time. These are the considerations I urge you to think about when you're investing in markets globally. It's not just, is there a crash? It's not just a bad analyst report. It's not just a bad earnings report. It's understanding that there are things happening at a global and macro scale that are unpredictable. Who would have known that a gigantic container truck would have gone ashore blocking the Suez Canal, right? I'm saying it again because I really want to hit home on this point. So let me end with this and make it a quick video tonight. The reason we hedge, the reason we think about limiting our losses, the reason we understand the risk that is inherent in our portfolio is so that when events like this happen and they're doubled down upon by the overall market risk right now, especially in the tech sector and frankly across the market in general, this is why we look at risk in different ways than we think about risk when we're just getting started, right? Take a macro view of the world. Ships get stuck in the Suez Canal. Supply chains fail. Markets and orders are slowed. Deliveries don't reach their endpoints. Customers cancel orders. Those canceled orders mean less margin. That margin means returns. Those returns affect stock prices. Those stock prices mean companies get more aggressive and make mistakes and risk goes up. Understand how to peel back the onion at all times. Understand how to protect it and hedge it. And just make sure you're evaluating your portfolio for the unknowns. And it's easy to say, well, how would I know an unknown? I just really want to encourage this again. Think about things from a global perspective. If you're trying to invest in Peloton, and that Peloton has to be built and shipped and delivered, but the raw components to build it are overseas, and they can't get those pieces here to put it together and deliver to your house so you can start paying for the app with their SaaS model, this affects the entire process all the way through. This also means that deliveries for underlying materials to build those core components might not be needed now or delayed, which further enhances the issues with miners and the underlying supply chain there as well. So I'm going to end it with this. Hedge your bets as best you can because there are things that will happen that you won't know about. If I asked you 5 days ago, do you think a giant ship's going to block the Suez Canal? You probably wouldn't even have thought about it. But now here we are, 10:30 on the East Coast in the US, and the canal is shut down. There's no idea of when it's going to open, and goods, materials, and anything you can imagine is going to be delivered. So with that, have a good night. Let's hope they open this thing up soon and keep on hedging and worrying about the downside because it will pay off long-term in dividends. Have a good night.